back from the break. The program is Africa Today right here on NBC, your number one African TV station on 43.2. And we're taking a look at some of the issues coming up on the African continent the past few days. And Ghana lost their former vice president, Alieu Mahama. He died last week. A few months ago, we buried the president, the former president. He was actually the sitting president then, Atta Mills, John Atta Mills, may he rest in peace. And there's the vice president, Tu Kufuor. And he died also last week. Ghana has been very busy. Yeah.
I've heard some people actually throw out some conspiracy theories, right?
Always, people always do.
Some individuals and groups are behind that. No, but I think on the most serious one, I think it's sad. The other interesting thing about this whole thing is that the medical practitioners who took care of him really never put out exactly what was wrong with him. I think that it was shrouded in some secrecy, which I don't know why, but it looks as if some other people are talking about the fact that he had some heart defects, which is why. And the thing is that they had a presidential debate about 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. He was there, he looked fine, and then according to the family, there were no clear signs of ill health. And then all of a sudden they rushed him to the hospital. So he was there on life support for some time. Yeah, and what happened was eventually he gave up. Actually, there was a story a day before he died, really, that he had died. So they had to come out to actually
saying that he's still alive.
Yeah, he was in coma. He was on life support. But then a day after that, he died. I think it's sad. Ghana has lost two great people. This man was actually a breath of fresh air in Ghanaian politics. He was calm, cool. You never heard anything about him. He never said anything about an opponent, which is something that we need in our politics. But it is very sad that we lost him. So may his soul rest in peace. That's what we can say.
That's
right?
what we can say. Yeah, and we move on. Please show.
Yeah, may his soul rest in peace.
That's it. All right. So to the Ghanaian community out there, let's go over to South Africa, where a professor, Janet Hapgood, received in Cape Town, has received $10,000, some kind of grant from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and this is to help her to get into research to find effective contraception for women who are at risk of HIV. Now, I remember when HIV came out, somebody having HIV and somebody having AIDS, two different things.
Sure, yeah.
That all you hear is that person is got AIDS and you are in no-go area. Nobody will talk to you, nobody will come around you, you're home. Horrible in Africa. But now, thank God, there are medications available to help you to build up your immune system. Still, it is killing. It's killing people and killing women. But in South Africa, they're trying to find out how best they can help, especially the young women in sub-Saharan Africa. The childbearing age group. When a woman's got AIDS and they do get pregnant and they do have AIDS, 99.9% they'll pass it on to the child. Yeah. And in most communities, they will stop you from breastfeeding that child. And also in the same community, it's a big thing when they don't see you breastfeeding your child. Then questions are being asked. Why isn't she breastfeeding the baby? And that's it. The wagon was set. So everybody will know. I think this is beautiful, and I pray that she can come up with something. That will really help. Please share your thoughts and your views on that.
Yeah, HIV, you said it right. HIV is different from when you have the virus, it's different from when it is blown into full AIDS. When it is AIDS, chances of surviving is very, very. But then you can live with HIV forever and live a normal life. Example in the United States is the Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
You can't even think of it that he's HIV. But this is a good development, all right? But then, for many years now, for close to 10 years, because I worked on HIV project with PEPFAR, then with President Bush. For more than 10 years, I'm aware that a pregnant woman that is carrying the virus can have a clean baby without infecting the baby. and can still go ahead also and breastfeed,
Yeah.
live a normal life. The problem really is, stigmatization is a horrible stuff.
Especially now.
Yeah, especially everywhere, even here, everywhere.
In Africa, it's
everywhere.
worse.
You see, because if people will come out and get tested, number one, you are better off knowing that you have HIV/AIDS.
They're not
HIV, that
they're
is,
not knowing.
than not knowing. Because when you know, you can do something about it and it can be clipped. All right? But when you do not know your status, then of course, by the time you begin to have opportunistic infections and you begin to break down, HIV/AIDS does not kill anyone. All right, what
If they
kills
break down
are
the
those
immune
opportunistic infections. It could just be cold, because you see, the immune system breaks down
Yeah.
completely. So
Yeah.
your body system cannot take care of ordinary cold, and that is what kills. So if people will come out and get tested, know their status, this is really nothing. But this may be a bigger stuff, the contraceptive stuff for that the
I don't
professor
know how
is
it's
working
going to
on.
work down.
No. It's easy. It's not easy by our standard, but I know
Right.
that the stuff has been there for 10 years because I worked on it. And from the beginning, once you know that you're HIV positive, all you need to do is see your doctor, especially the woman. See your doctor. The man can be HIV positive, the wife can be HIV positive, they still can make a baby and the baby will be
Yeah.
clean.
Yeah.
But if there's no notification, you are not seeing your doctor and you are not getting the preparation for that, like you said,
You pass it
for
on
me, I
to
think
the-
100%, 110% of the time, the baby is going to be
you
HIV
pass it
positive.
on to
And
the
you know how
child.
many kids have died in South Africa,
Oh,
in
yeah.
Kenya,
A
In
lot.
Zimbabwe.
Oh,
A
come
lot,
on.
a lot.
Sub-Saharan Africa is horrible when it comes to HIV. It's unfortunate, but we thank God for this. The other thing, if this woman, this professor, Hardgood, would do a good job in the sense, because so when they give you grants in Africa, or generally in Africa, we start thinking of buying the best cars, building a good house, and saving money, and spending just a little part of the money on
On the
project.
research.
Melinda and Bill had done a great
Yes.
service
Yes, and we
in Africa.
Okay, should thank
And
They've
they have
done
said
good.
to this woman, if this succeed and we see what you're doing, they're going to raise it to $1 million.
$1 million.
I was just thinking about it, $10,000.
It's actually 100,000.
No, this is 100,000.
This is 100,000. I'm sorry.
100,000.
But it's going to go to
100,000.
$1 million if this
million.
succeeds.
Yeah, if the
Okay.
project actually
So-
takes,
Right,
shape,
100,000, yeah.
that's very well. So I mean, basically, I think Fushua has actually made an excellent point over there. I think it's a good thing. I think that the professor has to do a very good job.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's very important is because of the context within which this is taking place.
Mhm.
In South Africa, people who fall in that category actually sort of die recklessly, right? Especially people of childbearing age and all that. So really, it is a useful thing for them. It is very timely. So as far as it comes out with the requisites, things that they are supposed to come out with, I think that basically
Yeah.
it's going to help
and,
people.
and also, when you look at it, said the young women
Mhm.
and the childbearing age,
Mhm.
and if you have HIV, which, like Fuso said, if you don't take good care of you, of course, it's going to develop into
AIDS.
full-blown
Yeah,
AIDS, and it's
full-blown
going to
AIDS.
wipe them away.
Oh, yeah.
The future of Sub-Saharan Africa is
Uh-huh.
bleak.
Yeah, yeah. You know that.
Yeah, because then we don't know what's going to happen. Find women to come in and have children. I remember a couple of years ago in Europe where they were begging the women to have more children because women said they will have only one. And I spoke to a friend of mine and said, this is interesting. They're actually begging the women to have more kids. We don't want that to happen
Yeah, but
in South
one
Africa.
quick one. I think it's sad, especially, of course, in Africa, but then particularly in the southern part of
Yeah.
Africa, especially if you go to South Africa, Zimbabwe. In fact, the stories over there are really
Uganda, remember
So,
Uganda,
Kenya
a
is
couple
one
of
of
years
them
too.
too.
Kenya too. You're right.
Kenya, if you're
Terrible
going to
stories
hire,
over there.
you have, for instance, NBC will have to hire folks, and you have 10 positions to fill. If this were Kenya, you have to hire, instead of 10, you have to hire 30.
Yeah.
Because there's no guarantee that those 10 that you hire will last a year on the job.
Wow.
Yes.
Because of what
Right, unfortunate.
it is unfortunate.
It's,
All right.
it's crazy.
Okay, the program is Africa Today, right here on NBC, your #1 African TV station, and it's on 43.2. We're taking a look at some of the critical issues affecting the African continent, and you've been watching and listening to Godwin Abuka and Funsho Olamide. Okay, every time I get to the last name, you can tell I stress a little bit to make sure I get it right. We're taking a break, and we'll be right back.